So yeah, so that's all about how to collect the email addresses, how you get them, what you do with them that night as soon as you've got them. Now I'd like to move on to how you actually make use of them to give yourself some benefit and at the same time give the person who signed up some benefit. So the first thing that a lot of people feel kind of icky about, especially bands and musicians, feel icky about when I say, yeah, you should get your email addresses and then, you know, build up a relationship. And they think, yeah, I don't want to just market myself. I don't want to like just, if I'm not really doing anything, I'm going to send them a newsletter regularly telling them all about myself, going to try and sell them stuff. And actually, what's the nice thing is it's not about that in the slightest. In fact, that's the worst thing you can do, is to bombard people with stuff all about yourself. It sounds a little bit strange perhaps, but the best way to tell people, to get people interested in you, is actually to tell them about other stuff. So that's kind of what we're looking at. As I say, what we're doing is we're looking at kind of building up a long-term relationship. So once we've got their email addresses, then that's great. So you've got people who like what you do, who want more of it in some way, whether they want to come to a gig, whether they'll end up buying a CD, whatever. They want more of it. They like you in the beginning. Now you've got to get them to trust you. And the thing with this is, firstly, okay, with the email addresses, a lot of people think, okay, well then I'll just keep those email addresses and I'll tell them, I'll get in touch with them when something is happening, like when the CD comes out, or I'll get in touch with them when we're doing a new gig. And it may sound a little strange, but it really is true that you need to stay kind of in constant touch with them, not every day, not necessarily every week, but I think as a band, once or twice a month is quite good. So I would even say start off with once a month, then you're not annoying people, but it has to be a regular thing. You want to especially do a short newsletter or just like a short email, excuse me, a short email which you're going to send regularly. It has to be regular, it has to be, let's say once a month. And when you do that, when you get in touch with the people who decided to give you their email addresses, have said, okay, I'm happy with you sending me stuff, what you're going to do is not tell them about yourself that much. You're mainly going to be talking about other things. Now, you know what to talk about because the people have come to see you play, for example, so you know that they like your kind of music. And if it's going to work with them long term, they probably need to, like somewhat similar things to the things that you like. And that's going to be your kind of ideal tribe, people say. In marketing, don't say tribe a lot. So what you're actually going to do is give them like really useful info and tidbits and stuff about the same kind of thing that you do and about the same kind of people as you. So if we're talking about music, then what you want to do is tell them, get in touch once a month, as I say, and find, say, 2 or 3 things to tell them about. As I say, what's really great is that they're into music, they're into the same music that you play. And that's nice because you play the music, because you're also into that kind of music. So you probably like other bands that are somewhat similar to you. They might be local bands that are somewhat similar to you. And you want to tell the people on your email list about these other bands. The ideal ratio, it's figured in kind of marketing terms, is when you're doing this kind of thing, it's actually you want to be 80% you're telling people about other stuff, maximum 20% you're telling them about your own things. So of every 8 things that you tell people about on your email list about other stuff, twice to say something about yourself. So, about your music, so kind of pushing yourself a little bit. So, as I say, it's a really nice thing because it's actually a community building thing, and you're talking about other people and you're helping other bands out, and you're telling the people who came to your gig about other stuff. So you start establishing a nice kind of give and take kind of relationship where you're just kind of feeding them stuff that's kind of nice and interesting for them, and you're not pushing yourself on them. You're not writing to them and saying, hey, I've done this and I get on a new CD and I'm really fucking fascinating. What you want to do, as I say, is tell people about similar stuff to what you do and stuff that you like, because the people like you, or they like your music, they'll probably like the music that you like. So as I said, once a month, let's say we have 3 things in we need a little personal note in the beginning, and then say you need 2 to 3 things in the body of the newsletter or the body of the email. Don't even have to call it a newsletter. But as I say, it's very important to stay in regular contact. Not too much, not too little. I would say as a band, start with once a month, a little email or newsletter going out. a little personal note, maximum 3 things in there. So you could put in something about a band that you know and like, either an international band or a local band. Let's say you use a local band, for example, you're helping other people in the scene, which is great, and then you can get them to do the same for you. And if different bands do that all together, then you're building up a community, everyone's helping each other out, and you're giving the people on your email lists, if everyone's got one, a lot of valuable information about stuff they like. So it all works and everyone's happy, happy, happy. Where was I? So that newsletter, the first thing, let's start with the personal. So we've got this one aspect, which is you tell them about something that's going on. But let's backtrack a little bit, and I'll tell you about the first thing which you've got to do is either you need a personal touch. Every newsletter, info, email, whatever you want to call it, has to start with something personal. Just find anything personal about yourself, your life, what you're doing. It doesn't have to be related to music. It doesn't have to sound cool and make you sound like a rock star. It can be stupid stuff. It doesn't matter. As long as it's personal, you need a personal touch. Put something personal in it. Little introductory note. Hi. Personal. Okay, but then we've taken care of that personal aspect of the email. Now you want to give them, say, 2 to 3, let's say 3 pieces of information. If you're a band and you're writing this, then tell them about another band in the area. It doesn't matter if you tell them about a concert that a band is doing. Doesn't matter if you tell them that another band has a CD out or coming out that they might like. And you could even do something like do an interview with another band. Shine a light on other people. And it's going to really work for you in the long run. So, yeah, something about something else that's going on that they might like. And then you could also put in an interesting little story. The best thing is to have a link to an article somewhere. Now, it could be a link to an article that you've written. That would be ideal if, for example, you had a website or a social media page and you wrote an article on there. You could put a little link in it in your email newsletter to this article you've written, which would be about something they might be interested in, which they probably will, because it's what you're interested in. So let's say a singer that you're interested in, you do an interview with them, or you write a little story about them, put a little link in the newsletter, a little blurb and a little link in the newsletter to take them to somewhere to find out more. So you're giving them information. There's some more stuff that you can do with that, with links and so on. So when you go take them from the newsletter, they follow the link to the article. You can work with that further, but I'm going to leave that alone for the moment. Just give them some information, link to somewhere, something that's interesting. As I say, if you want to do it quick and dirty, you don't have to write the article yourself. Find something that you think is really interesting and weird, and whatever you like, and just say, I found this on the internet, and here's a link to it. You might be interested. There you got your second bit of information. Third bit of information should be something... Yeah, so the third bit of information should be something. And so the third bit of information is ideally some kind of promotion. Now, it's not going to be a big pushy kind of thing, but a really good way to go about this is to find something that they can buy from someone, not from yourself, but from someone else that they might be interested in. Don't be pushy, and it doesn't matter if you don't need to be pushy, because you're either not getting nothing from it or you're not getting a lot from it. Some people call it kind of cross-selling, where you say, okay, if you like my music, then try the word again. Yeah, so the third thing that you could put in the newsletter, and this is great because you should have, with every newsletter, there should be some kind of promotion. There should be some kind of call to action. It's called a CTA, a call to action, which means people should act. There should be a call to action. So you have to kind of train people in a way to kind of react with your email, whether they click on something, or whether they go and do something, or they fill in a form, or they answer some questions, or anything. So to make them used to it being an interactive kind of thing. So what's great with this is that you can do a small promotion always get some kind of little promotion or call to action in there. A nice example of this is if you haven't got an album coming out right now, someone else that you know, someone else in your community of bands or someone else with a similar music will be putting out an album. And you can go to that band and you can say, for example, I mean, if you want to do that, you can go to that band and say, what about I put your album in my newsletter? If you sell it, then you give me, 10% or something. That would be really perfect. So then the community is all looking after itself, looking after each other. Any kind of promotion like that. For example, someone else has got an album coming out. You point to their album and say, if you like my music, this is great. They're brilliant. I love this band. Here's the link if you want to check them out. Even if you can't get anything like that going on, as I say, if you want to do it quick and dirty and you don't know any band who's got an album coming out, find another thing. You can even find on Amazon or whatever, something else that the people that like you might also like, something that you might like. It's something that's value for money, something that you really think is really a good thing. Put a little promotion in there, say, hey, you should check this out, it's nice. Go and have a look, see if you want to buy it. Not pushy, don't be pushy. Then you got the little promotion in there, and you're also at the same time training them to interact with your email, to react and to do something. And there you go. So that's the third thing. So now you've got your personal note, and you've got 3 nice bits of information, which is actually of value to people that have opened have decided to give you your email address. They said that they're happy to receive stuff from you, and they'll actually open your newsletter, or open your email and read through it. You're giving them a nice little personal note, and then you give them some good information, which is not pushy, and they can see that you're not trying to sell something to them. You're just helping them out and opening a conversation. And that's what it's mainly about, is opening a conversation, building up a relationship, know, like, and trust factor. So essentially what you want to do, as I said, is once you've got the email addresses, send out a regular newsletter, info email, whatever you want to call it. I suggest for a band about once a month is a good amount of time. As I said, it doesn't matter if you haven't got any news about yourself to let them know. Maybe the band's going through a quiet point, everyone's gone on holiday or something. It doesn't matter if there's nothing about you. There's other stuff that you can tell them about, and you don't want to be talking about yourself all the time. So there's always other stuff that it's good for you to tell them about. So that's the second thing.